This is going to be one of those videos that I've actually done before. This building was covered in one of those Woolton quizzes I did a few years ago. But this is going to be a little bit different. It's a little bit more detail in this than there was when we discussed it in the quiz. So you wait all day for a bus and they all turn up at once. Now this used to be the pub that I used to frequent. It used to be called the Coach and Horses, and I started drinking here long before it was legal for me to drink here. But it's changed over the years. It's now Little Angel's Nursery, looking after young children. But it did actually change quite a lot as a pub. So I thought we would look back over some photographs that I found and just compare it to what it looks like now. Let's do that walk again, and then I can put an old still photograph of the same location so you can see the difference. So this is the still, and it's a photograph taken by a guy called James Davis. And he was quite prolific in taking photographs of Woolton during the 1950s, possibly into the early 1960s, and also possibly the late 1940s. I think this dates from the 1950s, probably the early 50s. And this is a still from the video of roughly the same location. Not quite the same angle, unfortunately, but everything's in there. And you can see that these are not the same building. The building in James Davis's photo is the old Coach and Horses. And this is probably a better view of it. So I think this is the 1950s. See, the Coach and Horses there is just one single building with a bus stop in front of it. So sometime during the 1950s, this was demolished along with the bus stop, and this section of the road was widened. Now, even with this version of the Coach and Horses, it's not the original building as it was when it was first erected. This is what it looked like when it was first built, and you can see that there's a building on its right hand side and a building on the left. So it looks like the building on the left in this photograph is probably the one that's in the older photograph, but it's been modified in some way, probably into some sort of storage unit for beer and stuff. So, with the road widened and the bus stop pulled down, this is what was built in its place, a much larger building. One building roughly in the same place, in fact I would say in exactly the same place as the original coach, but an additional one to the side which runs down King's Drive, and then the curved frontage which again starts in Woolton Street and curves down into King's Drive with a car park behind. So this is the Coach and Horses that I knew I'm pretty sure it looked like this during the 1960s, but when I was going in the 1970s, this is what it looked like. And it was like this up until 2007. In 2007, the Coach and Horses, I think, was already closed. It became the Negresco Deco, and this was owned by a Liverpool entrepreneur. He actually had a very large house in Woolton, so this would have been local to him. He opened the first bar on the Albert Dock, and he had quite a few theme bars, restaurants throughout the city. This was a 1920s themed bar restaurant with Art Deco style interior, and unfortunately in 2013 he and his company were declared bankrupt, and that meant the end of the Negresco Deco. I don't think it was ever a bar or a pub again after that. If it was, please leave a comment. I don't remember it being anything else after this. And eventually it became the Little Angels Creche Nursery, which it is today. But I think it's a pretty fascinating history of just one pub in Woolton Village. There's been so many different things. Rightio, thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch up soon.